Okay, there's also a paradox here. When we consider that a dead mother or doctor, someone who has passed from this life, cannot nurture someone living, and so people may ask how the real guys could be able to have those still in the flesh when they are disembodied. Some may think that everything should be focused on the numan, whom they can hear, see, and even touch in the flesh. So, what can Duane, how would you answer such people?
Okay, one more time. Could you kind of find a simple? Could you uh, kind of simplify the first part of that? What are you asking?
Yeah, I just said some people would consider it a paradox when we refer to the real guys who have passed from this life, who are no longer in the with us here, because people are prone to uh, believing what they can, when they, someone they can hear, see, and even touch. Uh, and this analogy of a dead mother or a doctor who have passed from this life, they cannot nurture someone living. So they may ask how the real guides could be able to help those still in the flesh when they are disembodied. So, and then some people may think that maybe everything should be focused on the new man, whom they can hear, see, and even touch in the flesh. So, how would you answer such people?
Well, we already know that what that is, and that is that this is why I've done things a particular way. Again, Paul started off with that. The babysitter position of doing that. And I don't see it that way because I see the whole picture. And the whole picture is that, just even because, someone passes on, they haven't left. They haven't went anywhere because life's an isness. See, those are old ideas to where you come and go, or there's an afterlife, or you're going to go to heaven if you're good and hell if you're bad, and all these ideas. Okay, even the church, the knuckleheads that run the church have finally admitted that we invented hell just to scare the hell out of people and control them. Well, again, it's fine, whatever. So that's why they created Disneyland too, to control people, especially subliminally. That was the whole idea: create entertainment so people stay stupid. Um, but we enjoy entertainment. I like some of the Disney movies, but we have the whole picture now. Okay, we have the whole picture now, and that is that yes, everything's according to your intent and what you can see and recognize. It's the bigger picture. It's just not the literal doctrine, which mine aren't that. They're references, and they are in the literal sense because I have to relate to people accordingly. But you look at the pictures that Miss Ava and I create together, and mainly Ava because she's wonderful. These pictures are more than 1,000 words. It's more than anything written, etc. And what it refers to, it's very, very real. And I'm amazed at these things, and I'm surprised that more people don't recognize it. But anyhow, so no, we have the whole picture now, Charles, and it's not about me. I'm just doing my part, which I like. I put everybody in front of me, but I will stand in front when it comes to the confrontation. I will deal with it first. And so, but I like this. I like how I'm doing it. I like how I figured it out finally. It's more so than the Rubik's Cube. And that is that, yes, those are ideas. People can go see the Pope and touch the Pope. People can go, when the president's going to speak, oh, you got millions of people there. They want to see, they want to shake his hand. Hey, fine. I see the bigger picture, and that is that I constantly, refer to the isness. And as we establish this universal community, because again, just like anything that I've decided and to establish, I decided to do this. I want to bring this all the way in so that it becomes a reality like never before. And so things are taking place according to that decision. It's a big one. It's a biggie. Yeah, more so than just doing the books and whatever. And it's going to take support, and people have to learn to see it. But we have the whole picture now to where there is no more passing. There is no more of that. You see, that veil, in the Bible, it's talked about the firmament, okay? And this was drawn purposely by the deceptors so that people couldn't see the real side. You see, and I want to, you might say, lift that. We'll just say that idea, but really it's an isness. It's not lifting anything. It's like the sun coming through the fog, and then the fog just separates and dissipates. That's how I see it. And the thing is, because I've decided this, I'm very adamant with this, that this be so. And for those that are sincere, etc., you know, to want to see this and stand real with it, you know, that's a decision they make. You know, this whole experience that's going on and what you're talking about, but there is no passing realistically. This has been talked about, and you know what's interesting too, the religions especially, they play on this. The whole idea is what? You know, if you're, let's say, a good religious person and you believe in God, then when you pass on in the afterlife, you'll be saved. Okay? It's not about here. No, nothing really takes place here. You just have to believe and that you'll be saved. Well, guess what? You go to their designated heaven, which is just a nice little play yard, and then you come back here again and they control you again as situations become worse. That's been the old idea that people have stuck to and what have you. I don't see that at all. The isness is, once you recognize how this is and stand real with it, the coming of the going is not necessary anymore. You simply recognize and see the wholeness of it. And so this is what I'm trying to establish more so and more so. So getting this separateness, okay, putting these ideas aside, you might say, because again, look, there's Africa, and, you know, even when Paul was here, whatever, he didn't go all over the world. He went to certain places, and who could touch him or shake his hand or whatever. And yes, he specified, well, you need a living master in the flesh or whatever. Fine. Okay, so I'm here, others are here, etc. I see everybody as that. And it's not about that so much. And yes, things do happen because of that. But the best part is the isness. This is what I'm bringing in more so. But to get through, okay, I also need to be allowed, okay? So, you know, it's like passing from one country to another. You need a passport to allow yourself to enter that country. So this is the same idea here. This reality has to be allowed to become real here. And someone has to decide it. I've decided it. And so I will, and the boys are backing me for it to be persistent. But the more people that also recognize this and allow it to happen, you see, more so than wanting it, but you have to learn to allow how this happens and is to be seen and experienced. And so again, eventually I see it to where, and I'll stay for as long as it takes. It doesn't matter. I don't see any time factor of coming and going. It means nothing to me because it's an isness. And that is that as this is allowed, it comes to be. And guess what? You don't have to do that anymore. You don't even have to leave your body because you're standing in it already and you recognize that. That's the best part. So more so than just the body idea or the personality or whatever, this reality, this isness that is allowed to make itself present so that people can recognize it, you see? And who's doing that? Because you know what? They can't even figure it out. So everybody's mainly, all these things that you see, all these clever things, if it's from the Dalai Lama to Gaia and all these other things, oh, they're really cool. But you know what? They're just referring people to things, as all created things and created ideas, not this true, living, alive, true reality. It's so cool. And so to bring this into the physical and in its full sense, well, guess what? The is incorporating it now. It's doing a particular, and someday I'll explain more of that. But for now, this is what's happening, and certain people will see it on the real side. But it is occurring. It has been decided to be so, more so than ever, more so than any personality. And eventually, for those that see it, we will stand being to being. We will recognize each other in this reality. It's so cool. So you don't have to wait till you're old and dead or whatever the idea is. No, you can do it now. And so again, that's part of the stepping up. That's part of many things. Who will take the risk to step out there and be part of this? And guess what? The boys will step up. They will show you things you've never seen before. But you got to be the risk taker. But it's taken place, Charles, and it's even a lot better. It's even a lot better than the old ideas. Those are old ideas. Just like the new presentation, it is the new nowness now. And we've gone over a lot of these things. And, you know, everything's a reference. Everything that we're experiencing here is a reference to the is. It's how you put it together. It's how each person decides to put it together and how creative they want to be. And to, you know, again, my focus is of a particular, those people that want to step up with that. This is the whole idea. It eventually leads to this universal community to where we're just going to have a lot more fun. And yes, wherever you walk, the grass is going to grow and the flowers are going to come up, and so are the butterflies and bees. It'll get that real. That's how real it is, because it's the isness life is, and it's not magic. It's just real because it already is. It's just recognizing it. You know, there was that movie with Robin Williams called Hook, and it was about Peter Pan. And there was a point where they were sitting around the dinner table, and Robin Williams in the movie is Peter Pan. He goes, "Well, where's the food?" And all the kids were laughing, saying, "Well, you have to imagine it, Peter. You have to see it." And soon he did. And there it was. See, it was already there. And that's a very good example. It already is. And so as people, you know, yes, Duane is here, you're here, all of us are here. But as we recognize, take the time to recognize this isness, we bring that reality, you might say, right here, and it becomes so. Isn't that cool? And you are the sun shining all the time. That's very real. If you can decide it, it can be so. But who will decide that? See, to most people, it's like, nah, you're imagining, you're fantasizing. Well, what do you think imagination and fantasy is? It's all real. It's more real than this. You want this solid world to be the only reality? Well, then it is for you, and it's solid, and you got to deal with it, cause and effect. But you want that so-called fantasy to be your reality? Well, you have the right to decide that. You know, it's going to take a little effort, persistence, because you got that personal self too that is saying, no, I want to stay physical and grow old and whatever, you know, whatever it wants. You've got this struggle within yourself. Everybody does. So this is the wake up. But this is what I've decided because I like the adventure. I like to take the risk. I like to see what's going to happen. That's just how it is. So, yeah. You can take that any which way you want, Charles, but the isness, you know, like the new, it's always been here. It has always been. It's just now people are just starting to see it. The real guys have always been here. It's always been, but now they're just starting to see it, you see? It's not that they come and go. It's an isness. That's the best part. Yeah, so there you go. Constantly defining that like the sun shining. But you gotta just take the time to continually recognize that until it's just all of you, till you are it completely. Isn't that so cool? I see that as so cool. Yeah. Why would you want anything else that's limited and restricting when you can bypass? This is the freedom that everybody's looking for, and it's that real. But you really got to decide it. And yes, it does start with your fantasy and your imagination, till eventually you get into the all aliveness, what I call it is. It's actually alive. It's real. We're things in creation are simulations. They're ideas, they're formulas, they're formulated, they're formed, etc. This is creation. It's a particular from this isness, but it's not alive. So again, like you would be alive here, but you build a car to drive in, but it's not alive. It's a machine. And that's like creation is, compared to you as supposedly an alive person. But the real aliveness is your real awareness and recognizing this isness. And you know what? Getting the isness that life is to agree with the situation you're in. So you must, in turn, recognize what it is so that you can meet it halfway, you see? So instead of deciding what life is, learn to recognize what it is and allow it to be, you see, what it already is. And then you can be it too. There you go.